Once there was a hunter named Bill who loved to explore the wilderness and hunt for game. He had been hunting for many years, and he was always careful to stay alert and aware of his surroundings. One day, Bill stumbled upon a group of bears who were not pleased to see him. At first, Bill tried to back away slowly, but the bears quickly surrounded him, growling and snarling. He knew he was in trouble and tried to climb a nearby tree, but the bears were too quick and agile for him. As the bears closed in on him, Bill closed his eyes and prepared for the worst. But to his horror, the bears did not attack him. Instead, they circled around him, sniffing and licking him. Bill tried to fight back, but the bears were too strong. They grabbed him with their paws and dragged him deeper into the forest. For days, Bill was kept captive by the bears, who would torment him by playing with him in a twisted way. They would chase him around the forest and nip at his heels, and then retreat when he thought he was going to die. Bill was terrified, and he knew he had to escape. But he was surrounded by the bears, and he had no way out. As the days went by, Bill started to lose his mind. He became more and more like the bears, losing his humanity and becoming a feral creature. Eventually, the bears grew bored of their plaything and left Bill alone to fend for himself. He roamed the forest, half human, half bear, until he eventually died alone in the wilderness. No one ever found Bill's body, but some say that they can still hear his howls echoing through the forest at night, warning other hunters not to make the same mistake he did. Years after Bill's disappearance, a strange man appeared in town claiming to be the long-lost hunter. He looked just like Bill, but something about him was different. His movements were stiff, and his eyes seemed to have lost their sparkle. Despite the strange behavior, the townspeople welcomed the man back with open arms. They were relieved that Bill had returned, and they didn't question the odd changes in his demeanor. The man soon settled back into his old life, but he struggled to adapt to society. He found himself longing for the freedom of the forest, the thrill of the hunt, and the company of the bears. One night, the man snuck out of his house and ran into the forest. As he wandered through the trees, he stumbled upon a group of bears who were thrilled to see him. They greeted him with open arms, and the man felt a sense of belonging that he had never felt in town. The bears welcomed him back into their tribe, and the man knew that he had found his true home. He stayed with the bears for the rest of his life, living in harmony with nature and feeling at peace. Meanwhile, back in town, no one ever realized that the man who claimed to be Bill was not really him. They assumed that he had just changed after his years in the wilderness. Years passed, and the legend of Bill lived on in the town. But the man who had once pretended to be him had found his true identity with the bears, and he was happier than he had ever been before. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider liking the video and subscribe to be notified of freshly baked, frightfully generic stories.